So you're interested in owning a Pizza Hut. Maybe not. Maybe you're just interested in the video and you want to know the numbers and you could care less about owning a Pizza Hut. Either way, you're going to need, well, we're going to cover how much money you're going to need later on in this video. But the big question is, well, how much money do these Pizza Huts make? How much are the startup costs? And is the investment worth it? That's exactly what we're going to cover in today's video. So let's jump in. If you're new here, my name is Tarek Johnson. I am the CEO and founder of Franchise Empire, where we help people just like you find, vet, and launch proven money-making franchises. And in this video series of where we break down some of the most popular franchises, we're talking about Pizza Hut. By the way, if you're old enough, you remember when like Pizza Hut was the place. I mean, I remember in like middle school where Pizza Hut was like the hangout spot. Remember with like the red seats and like decor in there? That was like, I remember growing up and there was a Pizza Hut in a bowling alley, and like my parents would drop me off. I think I was like 12 or 13 years old, and it was just like hanging out at Pizza Hut was the jam. Maybe even saying the word the jam was the thing too. It's definitely not these days. But check this out. Pizza Hut was founded in 1958 by college brothers Dan and Frank Carney in Wichita, Kansas. It's so interesting how some of these brands are founded in the most obscure random areas. They borrowed $600 from their mom to start their first location, and the sign had space for only 8 letters. So that's how they came up with Pizza Hut, because there's the sign only had space for 8 letters. Very interesting. The original location is now actually a Pizza Hut museum on the Wichita State University campus, preserving their roots. That's crazy, a Pizza Hut museum. I wonder what that looks like. Maybe we'll show some B-roll right now of what that museum looks like. Now, they began franchising in 1959. So only a year after they started, they began franchising. So obviously they were on to something hot. And it's fascinating to me when I look back and do these videos of how far franchising goes back to. It's pretty amazing. And it also tells an interesting story, guys, which is in business that time compounds, right? Like some of these brands that are the biggest brands, they've been around a long time. Obviously, you have the unique situations like Crumble, right? Who just skyrocketed off, but that is not the norm. By 1966, there were more than 140 Pizza Hut units nationwide, which is pretty incredible growth. In 2001, Pizza Hut made history by delivering a pizza to the International Space Station, the first ever meal sent from Earth to space. That's crazy. So check this out. So I wanted to know more when I heard this. So in case you want all the details, then we'll talk about how many locations they have open. We'll talk about the exact startup costs, and we'll talk about how much money their locations actually make in terms of sales. But the full-fledged corporate mission was executed with the Russian Space Agency. So come on, man, partnering with Russia? I'm just kidding. The pizza was vacuum sealed and seasoned extra heavily to account for changes in taste perception in zero gravity, something that you and I will probably never experience in our lifetime. And the delivery was actually filmed, so that's cool. I think I'm gonna go back and watch that and see if I can pull that up. And they have images and video of that delivery happening. Now, something that we have probably all tasted at some point in our lifetime, it was my favorite type of pizza for many years growing up, which was stuffed crust. So they launched stuffed crust in 1995 with a marketing push featuring yours truly, Donald Trump, and it was an instant hit that added hundreds of millions of dollars in annual sales. And then overall, Pizza Hut is generally considered the second largest pizza delivery chain in the world. Behind, can you guess? Take a guess, let me know in the comments, and I'll let you know at the end of this video who that guess is. So in terms of locations open, they have over 19,000 locations open worldwide, and 99% of those are franchise locations over 110 countries. All right, another trivia before we get into the numbers of startup costs and earnings. Do you know what pizza topping that they used when delivering the pizza to space because their original choice just wasn't going to be able to handle the trip? Let me know what you guess, as well as your guess behind who is the first largest pizza franchise chain in the world. All right, so let's talk about some of the numbers. In terms of startup cost for traditional locations, we talk about the difference between traditional and non-traditional non-traditional, like airports, malls, colleges, etc. So in terms of the initial investment for Pizza Hut locations, where there's a couple of different options. So for the traditional units, which are the dine-in ones that you can actually eat in, it ranges from $777,000 to about $2 million to get up and open. The delivery, or what they call the Delco, delivery/carryout locations, $647,000 to $1.2 million in terms of startup cost. And then like the inline end cap delivery carryout, think about it like inline in terms of in like a shopping center, those range from $462,000 to $791,000. So those are some pretty dramatic differences in ranges in terms of the startup costs, but just wait till we get to the actual sales and what the average sales are for those locations. I think you're going to be really interested to hear what those numbers are like based on those different types of locations. But traditional locations, franchise fee $25,000, which is pretty reasonable. They have a monthly service fee, aka royalty, of 6% of gross sales, and they have a national advertising, which is 4.75% of gross sales. Here's what I'd be curious to know, because gross sales and net sales are different. Let me give you an example. If there's a promotion, right? So let's say the pizza's $20 and there's a promotion where it's on sale for $15. That's a $5 discount, right? And so the gross sale is actually $20. It's the amount before the discount. Net sales is the amount after the discount. So the question would be, are they really taking the royalty percentage on the phantom amount of revenue before the discount? That would be crazy, and probably would suck for franchisees if that was the case, because they're always running promotions like these pizza spots. That's what they live on, is running these interesting promotions, right? Non-traditional locations, let's talk about those. The initial franchise fee is between $5,000 to $20,000, and the monthly royalty is 10%, and that does include the national advertising fee, and there's a flat annual marketing fee of $1,500. Now, if you like these sort of breakdowns where we talk about startup costs, where we talk about numbers of franchises, but you want to know more so about franchises that might be good opportunities for you, that have territory availability, that aren't these old school brands, and I put together something called our 42 high performing franchises. We have a video breakdown of those things, so you can grab it at the link below. We'll leave the link in the description or the comment below. All right, so how much do these bad boys make? How much money can you make with a pizza franchise? Well, according to their franchise disclosure document that was issued March of 2025, for the period ending 2023 to 2024, for the 2,000 mature franchise restaurants, the average sales range from $263,000 to $3.1 million. I mean, I don't even know how the person who did $263,000 in sales, like, how are they even open? I think there's no chance that they are not losing money. And about 860 locations exceeded the average of $1.08 million, so $1,088,000. So those were for the dine-in red roof locations. We're actually going to walk through some of the different sort of locations that they have. So you have the delivery and carry-out locations. The average gross sales range from $258,000 to $2.8 million for those locations. They had a total of 1,357 of those that exceeded the average of 983,000. I'd probably want to be in that ballpark, guys, because the average sales are not much different than the locations that are like the dine-in ones. I promise you the dine-in ones are a lot more expensive to get up and open. So I'd probably just want to have the delivery or carry-out one. All right, so if we go back and look at like the sales to investment ratio, just the overall averages for those different type of locations, well, I mean, geez, the dine-in locations, they had a huge range going all the way up to $2 million. It was between $777,000 to $2 million. So 1.7, that's about $900,000 on average to get up and open, with an average sales of only about $1 million. That's a 1-to-1 sales to investment ratio on the average. Now, if we look at the Delco locations, the delivery/carryout ones, those startup costs were a lot less, right? So it ranged from $647,000 to $1.2 million. That puts us pretty much right around the same average though, guys. About $1 million on average, and the average sales are about 980 grand. So if you're part of one of the ones where you're on the lower end of the startup cost range, then I think you have the opportunity to make money. But if you're on the higher end of the startup cost range and then in the middle in terms of average sales, my goodness, it's going to take you a long time to get your money back on that investment, if you ever do. All right, so for our trivia, we had 2 trivias. Number 1, who was the largest pizza franchise chain? If you guessed Domino's, the answer is correct. Now, what was the topping that they wind up sending out to space? It was salami, ladies and gentlemen. I can't even remember the last time I ate salami. Just the word salami sounds gross to me. So I don't know that I would have been eating that over salty, super seasoned salami pizza in space, but I guess we'll never know. So anyways, if you like this sort of video and these financial breakdowns of how much money they make and just the interesting facts around these specific franchises, particularly that are listed on the Entrepreneur 500 list, then you can click right here and get a playlist of a whole bunch of other videos that we've broken down from some of the most popular franchises that we see every single day. Make sure to subscribe before you go, and I'll see you on the next one.